Hi friends, it's Miss Julie. Today is Monday and we're going to do the calendar, so I'm not going to do the counting of the days with you yet. We'll do that later. First, I wanted to share with you a story. Now this is a little bit different than the way I usually do my stories, friends, because I don't have the book. The book that I wanted to use is at the library, but guess what? The library is closed. So I decided I'm still going to read this story to you. I'm actually going to tell you the story, and I'm going to use pictures that I made to tell you the story. This story is called Pennies, Pennies. I bet you're thinking in your head, that's a rhyming. Benny and penny rhyme, that's right. So let me show you Benny. This fella, this is Benny. Let me give you a good look. Can you see Benny? Yep. He looks like a friendly fella. And Benny has 5 pennies. Let's count together, friends. 1 penny. It's a mighty big penny. 2 pennies. 3 pennies. 4 pennies. 5 big, shiny pennies. And Benny was super duper happy, and he said, "What will I do with my 5 pennies?" Well, he had some family who had some ideas about what he might be able to do with his 5 pennies. This is Benny's mom. Mommy says, "Benny, I want you to buy something beautiful." "Okay, Mom, I will look." Benny's brother said, "Well, I think you should buy something tasty and delicious." "That's a good idea." He said, "I will look." His sister, I think she looks a little bit like Charlotte. What do you think? Charlotte, we'll just call her Charlotte. His sister said, "I want you to find something nice for us to wear." "Okay," he says. His cat said, "Meow." Good thing Benny knows what that means. And his dog, what do you think the dog said? "Woof, woof." So he had his family help him with ideas on how he could spend his shiny 5 pennies. Now, it was a very beautiful day. So Benny said, "See ya, I'm gonna go for a walk and see what I can find." Here's the sunshine. Woo-wee. It is very bright, isn't it? Let's put Benny over here beside his pennies. Now, Benny was on his walk, and he came to a lady who was trimming some beautiful roses. He said to her, "Excuse me, could I buy a beautiful rose from you for 1 penny?" She said yes. So she gave Benny 1 red rose. And what do you think Benny gave her? That's right, 1 shiny penny. So he gave her his penny. We are taking away 1. So if we take away 1 penny, how many pennies does Benny have left? If you said 4, you are right. Benny went further along on his walk, this time carrying 4 pennies, like we said, and 1 sweet-smelling rose, until he came to a man who was baking some yummy smelling cookies. Benny, of course, stopped and said, "Excuse me, sir, would you be willing to sell me a warm, yummy cookie for 1 penny?" The man said, "Oh, of course." So he gave Benny a warm, yummy cookie. And what do we think Benny gave him? A penny. So if Benny gave him a penny, how many pennies do we have left? 3. You're right, we have 3 pennies left. And Benny continued along the path. this time with 3 pennies, a warm, yummy cookie, and a sweet smelling rose. All right, now Benny has come to a little boy who's making a fine paper hat. A fine paper hat. Benny said, "Excuse me, but those are fine-looking paper hats. Would you sell one to me for 1 penny?" I don't know about you, but I think Benny is getting some really good deals today because that little boy said, "Of course, I'd be happy to." He gave Benny a fine paper hat for 1 shiny penny. How many pennies does Benny have now? 2. You're right, he has 2 pennies left. And on he goes with his 2 pennies, with his fine paper hat, his warm, yummy cookie, and his sweet-smelling rose, until he came to a butcher who was chopping his meat, getting it ready to sell in his store. And Benny said, "Excuse me, Mr. Butcher, I couldn't help but notice that really, really big, meaty bone that you have. Would you be willing to sell me that big, meaty bone for 1 shiny penny?" What do you think? Yep, he said, "Oh, but of course." So he gave him the bone, and Benny paid him a penny. How many pennies does Benny have left? Oh my goodness, friends, he's down to 1 penny. But he has 4 items that he has collected. A fine, large, meaty bone, a fine paper hat, a warm, yummy cookie, and a sweet-smelling rose. His last stop, as he's walking along, he discovers a fisherman who had caught many, many fish. And he said, "Excuse me, fisherman, but my cat loves to eat fish. Could I buy a fish for 1 penny?" Oh dear, I'm dropping some. The fisherman said, "Oh yes, of course. I'd be happy to have you buy one of my fish." So Benny paid him 1 shiny penny and got a slippery, wet fish. How many pennies does Benny have left? None. That's right, he has 0 left. It's time for Benny to go home. Benny walks home with no pennies, but he has a wet, slippery fish. He has a large, meaty bone, a fine paper hat, a warm, yummy cookie, and a sweet-smelling rose. And when he gets home, his family is so excited. He said, "Look, I was able to find all of the things that you wanted me to find with my 5 pennies. And everyone in his family, his mommy, his sister, his brother, his dog, and his cat were super duper excited. The end. Friends, Benny was doing subtraction today on his walk. When he was walking with his pennies, each time you take away a penny, you are subtracting. You can subtract lots of things. You could subtract stuffed animals, apples, shoes. You could practice all kinds of ways. He was practicing with his pennies. Lucky for Benny, he had just the right amount of pennies. I hope you enjoyed. I hope that you can spend some time now thinking of piles that you can make. Maybe you can collect 2 shoes and 4 socks, and you can do some subtraction with those. You can talk about which pile is bigger, which pile is smaller. How do we make them bigger? When we add things, we put them together. When we subtract, we take them away. Remember that. Now, at the beginning, I told you we were going to do calendar because it's been some time since we've done calendar, and you are never going to believe what I found in my house. Well, I didn't really find it here. I actually brought it here because I wanted to do calendar with you. So, friends, our calendar is hanging up. And I bet you remember that while we've been gone, there was a change in our season. We are not in the season of winter anymore. We are in the season of spring. Spring is coming, hopefully, although yesterday, with that snow, it sure did not feel like spring. So, let's go ahead. Miss Julie will be the weather helper and the calendar helper today because you're not here, but you can certainly sing with me and do the motions because you definitely know that. So let's go ahead and we will do our counting. Today we'll start with number 1. We have many numbers to count, friends. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. Today is number 23. Days of the week. 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 There's Sunday and there's Monday. There's Tuesday and there's Wednesday. Thursday and there's Friday, and then there's Saturday. Days of the week, days of the week, days of the week, days of the week, days of the week. Let's see if you know what today is. It starts with an M. Missy Mouse Monday. You are right. And if today is Missy Mouse Monday, then we know tomorrow will be Timmy Tiger Tuesday. Good. I'm glad that you're all remembering this because it's been a little while since we've been at school. All right. So today is Monday and our month is still March. March 23rd, 2020. We're still in 2020, but look at this. Our season is not here. Winter is gone. Spring is here. We are in the season of spring. All right. Guess what time it is? Weather. What's the weather? What's the weather? What's the weather out today? Tell me, children, look out the window. What's the weather out today? Is it sunny? Is it rainy? Is it cloudy out today? Is it snowy? Is it windy? What's the weather out today? Drum roll! All right, my friends. I'm going to tell you that I think today it is very, very cloudy. A little gloomy, cloudy today. It's supposed to get warmer, so I'm very excited about that. All right, well, I hope that you're having a wonderful Monday. I want you to really practice your counting, making groups, and then taking away and adding back together. And I will be excited to hear about it. Have a good rest of the day, friends. I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.